Narito ang programang totoong-totoo, Tambayan sa DWIZ. Programang magliliwanag ng ilang mahahalagang mga issue. Tambayan sa DWIZ. At ngayon, narito na sila upang maghatid ng saya sa bawat Pilipino. Sa programang Tambayan sa DWIZ.
Magandang tanghali. Welcome to Tambayan. Ako po si Trixie Cruz Angeles. Para sa araw na ito, may i-interviewin po tayo na party list. Sa ito ng aming intensyon na magbigay ng impormasyon para sa masusing pagpupili natin ng mga opisyalis natin for the incoming administration. Nasa ating linya si Governor Anthony Del Rosario ng Angat Pinoy. Magandang tanghali, Gov.
Magandang tanghali po, Attorney Tiki.
Magandang tanghali.
Magandang tanghali din po sa ating mga viewers sa ating programa.
Kumusta po kayo ngayon?
Okay lang po. Alam mo naman, nag-umpisa na po ang national campaign.
Correct.
Since February 8th. And of course, we've been busy going around the country pushing for itong party list na nabanggit po nyo kanina, yung Angat Pinoy Party List po, number 71 sa balota.
Okay. Ang Angat Pinoy Party List is primarily concerned dito sa pagpuputol ng red tape, pag-bridge ng ilang mga sektor, yung mga marginalized sectors natin with available government programs. Do I assume na pati private na programs na itatawid ninyo dito sa mga targeted sectors ninyo?
Opo, unang-una sa lahat po, nakita na po natin na mula nung naging presidente po si Presidente Digong in 2016, isa sa mga priorities po niya yung pagtatanggal po ng red tape sa bureaucracy. We all know, I think every person in this country at one point in their life naka-experience po sila na mayroong mga fixers dahil po yan sa red tape ng ating gobyerno, that is why very prevalent po nung una yung mga fixers, and that's why it also takes a long time to process government documents. Not only is it expensive, it also takes too long. And that is why isa yan sa mga priorities na ginawa ng presidente natin. And we hope that we will be able to continue espousing for eliminating red tape in the bureaucracy. But aside from that po, ang Angat Pinoy Party List po may anin po na sectors na tinutulungan, na tinututukan po natin. Unang-una po sa lahat, ang ating mga maliliit na negosyante po. Kita na po natin in the last 2 years, because of the COVID pandemic, marami pong mga maliliit na negosyo nagsara. And of course, maraming walang source of income. And that is why for us to move forward, for this country to move forward post-COVID, kailangan po talagang matutukan itong mga, lalo-lalo na po itong mga maliliit na negosyante. Dahil po, they make up almost 99 or 98% of the entire business sector. And if we want to jumpstart the economy, sila po dapat ang unang nating tutukan. And that is why napaka-importante po that the national government should really focus on ensuring that our small business men, our business sector, the small, micro and small businesses are properly are capable of accessing funds. Lalo-lalo na po itong mga maliliit na negosyante kasi wala pong mga assets ito. When you go to banks, hinihingan ng collateral, wala naman din po sila mapakita ang collateral. And that is why it's very important the national government should step in and ensure that there is sufficient funding for this particular sector. Pangalawa po is, of course, women. Time and time again, we've seen, even until now, nasa 2022 na po tayo, but we all know that hindi po patas ang pagtingin po sa babae at lalaki. Meron talagang discrimination against women, even in the workforce. And that is why we need to help to ensure that everybody po may level playing field. Hindi na po dapat bibigyan ng diferensya kung female ka or men ka sa trabaho, no? Women should be able to have the same access to jobs that are available to men, no? And of course, ang nakikita natin dyan, yung discrepancy din sa sweldo, no? It's really common knowledge sector that women are underpaid compared to men, no? Not only are they given lesser tasks, but they're also given less money. And I think that has to be changed, no? As I said, we're already in the 21st century, and yet, until today, meron pa rin class discrepancy. Sa mga women na nakikita natin, malaking problema po, yung, siyempre, itong mga single parents, no? Especially, itong may mga anak na mga maliliit na hindi nila maiiwan sa bahay, so hindi sila makakapagtrabaho. Again, this has to be tackled, no? Because a lot of them pag nabuntis, naiiwanan ng kanilang mga partners. And unfortunately hindi naman din sila tinutulungan ng mga husbands sila na umalis, no, sa tahanan. And that is why the government should also step in and ensure that these single mothers are able to take care of their children. After all, ma'am, the future of this country is with our children, no? So we have to make sure that our children are properly cared for, they're properly educated, so that they can grow up to be contributors to society. And then, of course, number 3 po, nandun din po yung youth sector. Access to education is still not as what we want, no? Napakarami pa rin mga bata po na hindi pa nag-ieskwela. Despite the fact na libre ang education, hindi lang po sa grade school, college, grade school at saka ngayon nga po under the administration of President Duterte, libre na rin ang college. But despite that, a lot of our youth are still not availing of this free education. And what is the problem, no? And I suspect a lot of it has to do with yung mga expenses po, no? Because it's not enough that you have free education, free tuition. Siyempre po, paano ka magbabiyahe sa eskwelahan kung wala kang pera pambayad ng tricycle? Paano po kayo kakain pag nasa eskwelahan kayo kung wala ka namang pera pambili ng merienda, pambili ng lunch? And then a lot of times po, yung mga magulang, wala nga trabaho. So napipilitan po yung mga bata, imbis na papasok sa eskwela, they end up helping their parents look for income para po makakain po sila, no? So these are all issues that need to be tackled by the next administration, and hopefully we will be part of that ang Pinoy will help in solving those problems po, ano? PWD is also yung persons with disabilities. Nung congressman po ako, nung governor po ako, since 2002, I was already in government. Hanggang ngayon po, ang dami pa rin mga buildings na hindi accessible po sa mga PWD, no? We see time and time again people who cannot walk na kinakarga paakyat sa second floor, third floor ng building. Ito po ay hanggang ngayon kailangan po mabigyan ng tamang focus po ng gobyerno, no? Kasi po kawawa naman ang mga PWDs natin dahil hindi po sila nakakapasok sa mga opisina, lalo-lalo na sa mga higher floors, no, pag wala pong elevators. At isa pang problema po sa PWD, siyempre yung access din sa employment, no? And we believe that one of the things that we can do is balik na po tayo doon sa small businesses. Pwede natin malink up po ang PWD sa mga small businesses para matulungan po sila. And last po yung ating mga OFWs. No? We have 2 million OFWs and most of them have lost their jobs due to the pandemic. A lot of them are back in the Philippines and with no income whatsoever. And again, this has to be prioritized by the national government. No? And we believe that, again, one of the solutions could be retooling these OFWs to teach them new skills, possibly also providing financial assistance to different agencies po. So ito po yung 6 na mga sectors po na tinututukan namin sa Pinoy Party List po.
Okay, but primarily din napansin ko, Gov, no, yung mga concerns na nire-raise niya habang binabanggit niya yung mga sektor, ito ba ay policy issues o talagang issues lang of red tape, for example? Nakikita ko na advocacy ito, pero para makakuha kayo ng pwesto sa Kongreso, meron ang iniisip natin dito ay meron kayong legislative agenda. Gayon pa man, pero tingnan nyo yung mga sinasabi niyo, for instance, accessing yung mga loans that are available or financial support that is available already. Meron pa yung mga accessibility ng mga PWDs. Isn't this a matter of enforcement? Bakit po sa Kongreso kayo gustong pumasok?
Hindi po, ma'am. Actually, it's really a combination of legislation and informing the people of what is available through the government. No? For example po, if we're going to talk about legislation, pagdating po ng senior citizens, marami pa rin po na hindi nakakatanggap ng kanilang mga benefits. That is the reason for that. Because po, a lot of seniors, kasi sa existing Republic Act po, na Senior Citizens Act, hindi po kasali ang mga may pension.
Yes.
So, kung ang senior citizen po meron ng pension, kahit na 500 pesos a month lang yung pension niyan, hindi na po siya pwedeng masali po sa programa ng national government.
Yes.
And that's something that has to be changed. No? We should not penalize senior citizens just because they already have their existing benefits from their pension plans. No? That has to be reconsidered. Another thing po, yung ating yung mga binibigay po natin na benefits senior citizens, medyo outdated na po yun. Napakaliit po na amount. As we all know, napakamahal na po ng mga bilihan ngayon. So we have that. No? And of course, that's all part of legislation. Another thing po, yung ating single parents, why can't we legislate so that they can be included doon sa mga discounts sa mga medisina, discounts even just to buy groceries, di ba? We provide this 25% discounts to senior citizens. Why can't we do the same thing with single parents? And that has to be legislated also, no? Pagdating po sa mga small businesses, as I mentioned earlier, ang problema po ng mga maliliit na negosyante is they do not have access to capital. They do not have access to loans. Dahil po, wala po silang collateral. No? Kung mom and pop o sari-sari store lang yan, ma'am, saan naman sila kukuha ng lupa para gamitin as collateral para makakuha ng loan sa bangko. No? And we should therefore legislate so that we can provide additional funding from the government without having to produce a collateral for these types of sectors, no? Itong mga maliliit na negosyante po. So yun po ang iba sa mga, yan po yung mga legislation na iniisip po natin at pag tayo po ay nakapag-upo po bilang member po sa House of Representatives.
Okay. For example,
and of course, I just want to add po, ma'am, no? I just want to add, we already provided, as I mentioned earlier, we already provided free tuition in colleges. I think the next thing we need to take a look at is how to give them additional benefits aside from free tuition. As I mentioned po, it's not sufficient that you have free tuition to go to school. You need money to buy textbook. Correct. You need money to buy ball pen, paper, notebook. You need money for transportation to go to school. We have a lot of students, for example, in Davao del Norte po, who go to school in USEP here in Davao City, yung state college dito sa Davao City, dahil meron silang mga specific courses na hindi available po sa state college sa probinsya namin. They cannot keep traveling every day for 1 hour, so what do? They have to get a dorm. Saan po sila kukuha ng pera pang dorm kung wala naman source of income and their parents are also having a difficult time, no? Mm-hmm. So maybe one of the legislations we need to take a look at is how to provide additional benefits or financial assistance aside from free tuition. Because I believe having free tuition is not sufficient for children to go to school. kailangan po talaga merong pambili ng textbook, may pambili ng pagkain, may pambayad sa dormitoryo. Lahat po ito, these are all factors that contribute to having a good education. No? I do not know if you know the statistics, ma'am, but a lot of our incoming freshmen, parang if I remember correctly, parang 1% lang po ang nakakatapos after 4 years. So we have a lot of enrollees on the first year of college, pero pagdating po ng fourth year college, parang 1% na lang yata nakakapag-graduate. So there's a lot of people leaving, getting out of school for whatever reason. No? And we believe that that reason really is insufficient money. That you're talking about 4 years where they have to sustain, be able to buy books, as I said, eat, pay for dorms, and a lot of them are not able to provide those particular funds to be able to finish those 4 years. And I think that's a problem that we need to address in Congress.
And you think that the funding should come from government?
Yes, I believe so, ma'am. No? I'm not saying everybody, no. Yeah. I think we have to take a look at po yung mga talagang, yung mga talagang hindi po kaya. No? And I think social welfare has data. Department of Social Welfare has the data for us, no, to be able to determine kung sino po ang pwede mabigyan ng financial assistance.
Okay. Although, if you read the Tertiary Education Act, there's free tuition na kompleto. May mga levels yun. Merong iba na pwede ng textbooks only and so on. But I agree, kulang yung mga things like dormitories, transportation, etc. Which is where the 4Ps comes in, sort of. Kaya lang grabe, liit na rin pag 4Ps. 750, 500, and then 300 yata for the least. So,
yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think that then part of your purpose is also, I suppose, the elimination of poverty, because yun yung end goal yata dito
Opo, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sinusundan po natin yung yung Ambition 2040 po. Of course, I used to be governor. I used to be the regional chairman po sa Regional Development Council dito sa region. I'm very familiar with Ambition.
Okay, so
40, I'm very familiar with Philippine Development Program Plan. Lahat po yan, kabisado mo. And that is why it's very important for us to be able to achieve what we set out in this administration with regards to Ambition 2040. I think we need to do more.
Yeah, kailangan ambisyonin natin yan Correct, I agree. I have a question. Dito dun sa women's group, so I single out women's groups. You talk about the Solo Parents Act, but solo parents can be of either gender. And by the way, the implementation, for example, of the Violence Against Women and Children Act, while we understand the need to uplift women and to give them special protection, it also happens that violence is no longer just along gender lines. So what do we do about the solo parents who are men?
Well, actually, ma'am, the reason only I mentioned women is because, the reality is the majority talaga of the solo parents are women.
I agree.
Most of the men who are solo usually leave them with their parents or possibly a girlfriend. No, that's the reality. That's the reality po sa solo parents. No, but definitely I'm not discriminating against male solo parents. No, nabanggit ko lang po dahil po karamihan talaga. That's a fact. No, that the majority, if not, I do not know exactly how many percent. But I suspect 9 out of 10 siguro dyan are women po, no? Solo parents. Definitely po, when I say the benefits for single mothers, syempre kasama din po dyan ang mga single fathers.
All right. I think it should be more along the lines of income, because of course the less you have, the more support you're going to need. So at income kasi hindi na magiging gender based.
Alam mo po, one of the things that some of our LGUs in Davao del Norte have done. Of course, this benefited government employees. Yung naglalagay po ng daycare center po sa loob ng LGU. This is something that we can legislate and require all businesses to have their own daycare centers para po ang mga single mothers who are capable of getting a job can bring their children to the office and put them in daycare centers while they are working and then collect their children after working before going home. Kasi po, ang pinakamalaking problema dyan po yung mga babies. Kasi po, pagdating ng preschool, wala naman sa problema yun kasi you can leave them in school before going to work, no?
Yes,
and then you can pick them up in school after work. Pero yung problema po, yung talagang mga bata, no? Yung mga up to 3 or 4 years old, wala mo, hindi mo alam kung saan mo iiwan yung mga bata, no? And that is why we espouse for it in our province na dapat ang mga LGUs meron daycare centers para ang mga empleyado na single parents pwede na maiwan yung mga babies nila doon. And of course, meron naman tayong mga tinatawag na LGU social workers, di ba? So yun po, isa sa mga trabaho po na ginagawa sa mga social workers sa mga LGU ay tinutulungan po yung mga bata sa daycare center. Again, that's locally legislated, no? But that can be done also in the national level, requiring all businesses to have a daycare center para po ang mga single parents po hindi magkakaproblema pumasok sa trabaho.
Agree. There is a law for barangay daycare centers, though. Kaya lang parang I agree with that one that work-related para nando kasama mo. So pag pumasok ka kasama mo because living in the daycare, medyo you're at the mercy of the daycare officials also or the barangay officials.
At saka po, I mean, of course, I'm a father. No, I have little children. But I recall when I was governor, they were still babies at the time. Of course, I have a wife. No, but the point is, even if you put them in a daycare center, you can't help but wonder what's happening.
Agree.
To them. No?
Exactly.
So normally a parent, pag ang bata na sa daycare, hindi mo talaga maiwasan lalo pag baby, no? Siyempre, iniisip mo ang welfare ng anak mo. Unlike kung nasa opisina po yung daycare, napakadali lang, you just walk a few minutes, na makikita mo na, okay na yung anak ko, okay, balik ka na naman sa trabaho. Meron kang peace of mind po, no? So we're able to work much better under those circumstances.
I agree. Pero ang laki rin ng impact ng daycare centers sa economy. And this is rarely discussed. Kasi nagkakaroon, especially pagka nasa trabaho yan, pwede ng dalawang income. Kung there's still 2 parents at home, pareho sila makakatrabaho. Kahit bata pa o maliit pa yung anak nila, they can both go back to work. So nagkakaroon, hindi na i-impoverish yung pamilya simply because nagkaroon sila ng anak. So there is some kind of economic benefit. Ang laki talaga actually ng impact. So women or both genders can actually go back into the workforce kasi hindi sila forced to take on the role of caregiver for the child, for the young child. Now, so I was wondering, daycare centers, but sometimes it's if you look at our tax laws, di ba, yung luma natin tax laws, pwede natin i-declare na dependent yung senior. Pagka yung mga tipong super seniors, they also require care. I was wondering if there's since you have a senior citizens aspect here, is there we need to look at I've seen some of the senior centers. May mga, depende kasi sa LGU yung ibang mga LGU. Ang gagaling
the reason these senior centers have not really picked up as much as compared to, the countries like the United States is because iba po ang kultura ng Pilipino, no? We're very clannish.
Yeah.
Diba? Hindi tayo kapareho ng Amerikano na pag nag-senior citizen na yung magulang, they put them in a senior home, no? Or a home for the aged. A lot of us po, we don't, that's not our culture. And a lot of us, if our parents are if our parents are already senior citizens and they're having a hard time, we take them into our house as opposed to putting them in a senior center. Again, I'll go back to Davao del Norte. Meron din kaming center for senior citizens.
Yes.
And it's funded both by the national and by the province. Unfortunately po, the number of members or senior citizens that are there are usually the ones that are abandoned by their children. No?
Yeah.
It's not really a center where senior citizens voluntarily go there to live. Again, I think it's because of the culture that we have as Filipinos. So to me, hindi pa ganun laki ang impact ng senior citizens because of that culture. No? So I think what's really needed right now, kasi a lot of, when I remember when I was in Congress, in the 16th Congress, I sponsored a bill to expand the coverage of senior citizens, benefits for senior citizens at that time. And I remember, nahirapan po yung gobyerno dahil po sa laki ng budget na requirement.
Yes.
But when you talk to senior citizens, because I've consulted several groups, not only in the Davao region, but also in NCR, ang talagang hinahanap po nila yung additional benefits in terms, lalo na po yung pera. No? Kasi marami nga sa nila walang mga trabaho. And that is why po wala silang source of income. You know, another legislation that's worth considering, no? Yung kamukha sa United States po, where you have businesses who are given tax incentives for hiring senior citizens.
Yes,
that's something that we can take a look at here through the Committee on Ways and Means and see how we can sponsor a bill that provides tax incentives to big businesses who hire. You don't have to hire a senior citizen for 8 hours a day, kahit na 4 hours a day lang. Kasi siyempre senior citizens na po yan. No? Ang importante kasi sa senior citizens, meron lang silang magastos. Meron silang magamit pang pagkain, yung to panood ng sine or things like that, no? That to be able to go out to eat out, not necessarily in expensive restaurants, but to be able to enjoy life after working for so many years, no? And unfortunately, a lot of them are not able to do that simply because they don't have any savings, and that's why wala silang magastos when they retire. But in the United States, as I said, they provide those kinds of incentives for companies who hire senior citizens. Kahit 4 na oras na, 2 oras na, basta lang may pera makuha ang senior citizen. That would be very helpful to our senior citizens in this country.
Gov, we need to take a break, but we'll get right back to you. We'll just interrupt it with an ad. Magbabalik ang Tambayan, ang oras natin 12:33 ng tanghali.
Tambayan sa DWIZ. DWIZ. Muli nating balikan Tambayan sa DWIZ.
Nagbabalikan Tambayan, kasama pa rin natin sa himpilan, Governor Anthony Del Rosario of Angat Pinoy. Gov, I wanted to ask, yung isang bahagi ninyo, yung isang identified sector ninyo is yung micro-businesses. So, very interested kami dito because one of the things that we see regularly dito is we're dominated by the really huge businesses. Almost to the point na dapat nga may antitrust laws tayo. Beyond simply, encouraging micro and small businesses, anong proposal ninyo para meron naman tayong konting, kumbaga may capability yung mga MSMEs natin na lumaki. I mean, we want startups, we want the small businesses, and then we help them along so that they can grow. Pero part of the reasons many of our businesses don't grow is because there's already built-in structures. Kumbaga, yung mga malalaki, they're so big that they can afford to just outcompete everybody. What do we propose to level the playing field dito?
In the 16th Congress po, ako po ang main author po ng anti-competition law, no?
Yes.
Yung pinasa namin ni Manong Henry Cuampo.
Yes.
During the time of Speaker Sonny Belmonte. We hoped at that time that when we passed it, we were hoping that it would somehow level the playing field, and that is why there's already what we call now the Competition Commission, no, in existence. That was a product of that law that we co-sponsored by Manong Henry. But in any case po, ang isa, again, I will repeat, no, one of the biggest problems po sa mga maliit na negosyante is, number one, lalo na po, let's talk about first yung mga sari-sari stores. No? Most of them, ma'am, are not knowledgeable, especially simple accounting.
Yes.
Wala silang capacity, no? And more so pagdating po ng funding. Wala po rin silang, karamihan po yan, talagang kung ano makolekta ngayon, yun din ang pambili ng inventaryo. And that is why hanggang ngayon napakahirap po mag-graduate from small to medium.
Alright.
Now, pagdating po ng medium naman, which are slightly bigger and of course more capable, ang problema talaga po is yung mga barriers that are in place because of the big businesses, di ba?
Yes.
Number one po and then again, I think that all goes back again to financing, being able to access venture capitalists, provide the funding necessary. Kasi po, for a medium scale company to move into the larger sectors to compete with the Ayalas and the Aboitises of this country, you need free capital. Hindi pwedeng yung loan, ma'am. You need investors to come in. And doon po may problema, no? Kasi siyempre, if you're looking at investors here in the Philippines, a lot of them, they really put their money in the blue chip companies, no? Wala mo masyado na i-invest sa mga medium-sized sectors. Not unless you have a person running a business na talagang may produkto na walang ibang meron, ano? That's a different story. But in this country po, karamihan po ng mga negosyante natin, ang mga produkto halos pare-pareho po. No? So it's very difficult for them to graduate to a large-scale business simply because they don't have capitalists that can provide that funding. And as I mentioned before po, kung puros lang tayo utang, it will help us expand, but it will never get us to that next step, which is moving on to large-scale businesses.
So what do you...
Again, I compare this to, I like to compare this to United States. You have a more developed economy in the United States. You have, of course, people who have smart ideas. Even with an idea, you're able to entice venture capitalists who are not putting money as loans. No, they're putting money as investments in the hope that in the future, when your idea becomes successful, they can unload their investments in the capital markets through stocks, no? by going public, diba? That's really how it works in the United States. No? Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of a system yet in place here in the Philippines. Lalo na pa sa mga small businesses graduating to medium and medium going to large. I think that's the biggest problem that we have.
Aren't we reinventing the wheel? Marami kasing instances even before. Even I understand there is even there's a fund of, I forgot the name, I apologize. Available supposedly for these MSMEs, but they were placed in the banks. And it's the banks that are administering. Yung mga bangko yung nagpapa-loan out kahit pera yun ng gobyerno. So dahil yung mga bangko yung nagpapa-loan out, subject sila dun sa vetting procedures ng mga bangko. So, hello, ID, dun pa lang sa ID system, patay na yung mga micro-businesses natin. Di na nila ma-access yun. So, may proposal po kayo dun sa magagawa natin dito?
Ang nasa isip ko po, because the problem is, banks naman kasi, I used to be a banker also, you know. Pag ang bangko kasi po, siyempre, they have to follow the policies of the bank. Hindi naman pwedeng lahat ng savings ng taong bayan isusugal mo sa mga loans na walang collateral. That's why they're very risk averse. No? I think what we need to do is I think the national government has to really set up, because actually we already have I've already met a few venture capitalists here in this country, but most of them are foreigners. These are foreigners from the United States looking to invest in businesses in the Philippines, hoping, pag lumaki, meron silang they can get out through IPOs. No? But I think this can be done through national government. All we need to do is set up some kind of an NGO, not NGO, sorry, a GOCC that acts like a venture capitalist.
Okay. Okay, I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
You have entity Juan de la Cruz GOCC Corporation, no?
Mm-hmm.
And then the national government provides funding there through legislation. We legislate and then to create this organization or this company, this GOCC, and the national government provides funding. And then anybody with, it's going to be run like a professional venture capital company. So you have small businesses with excellent ideas, magaling ang mga plano, marketing, so on and so forth. And this GOCC can risk a little bit of its money to put in this particular idea that this group of people have, no? And in the hope that if properly run, in the hope in the future, mag-IPO yan, and then of course, the GOCC can either unload its shares or continue on and play a more active role by being majority or whatever. Depende po na yan sa GOCC na i-create natin. But what's more important here is you're now providing funds that don't need to be paid back through loans. Kasi po yung sistema natin ngayon, kaya nga sinabi niya, we put them in land bank, we put them in DVP, and then we force them to the rural banks. Siyempre, kahit pa paano, may interest rate po yan. Ano? And of course, we all know that interest rates, saan ang kukunin ng pambayad sa interest expense? Siyempre, doon kukunin yun sa income, di ba? So, if your income is being used to pay off your debts, you can't really grow as fast.
Agree.
As opposed to when you have a venture capitalist who's going to be an investor and not a creditor, iba na po ang situation, no? So, nagiging stakeholder siya dahil po shareholder siya, and therefore, yung income mo, hindi na kailangan bayaran po sa bako yung interest. And therefore, you can use that as retained earnings to expand further as opposed to paying the banks. No? So, yun ang nakikita natin pwedeng ma-legislate dyan po, no? Creating a new GOCC, ang specific purpose lang po niyan, venture capitalist. May pondo, pag-aralan lahat ng mga ideas ng mga maliit na negosyante. Pag maganda ang plano, magandang produkto, then that venture capitalist that's owned by the government can provide funding there. And later on, they can, depending on how successful the company is, they can either, it will be easier for them to get back the money pag nag-IPO po yung company nila.
So included dito sa inyong mga specific targets, no, yung select groups dito are OFWs. So you're also providing them with business opportunities so that they don't also worry about here.
Yeah,
what do we call this?
This is my thinking about OFWs, Mama. This is my personal thinking of OFWs.
Okay.
Of course, we're very happy that there are OFWs that provide dollars to this country.
Opo.
Yun naman talaga ang benefit ng OFW sa Pilipinas. They bring in dollars for us. No? But noong araw din kasi po, I used to work also abroad when I was younger. No? And it's not really a happy situation.
No, it's alam ko yung
especially
feeling
at the time, single pa ako noon. Kaya medyo happy pa ng konti kasi binata pa ako noon. No? But when you have a family and then you have to leave your family behind, wow, that's such a very difficult situation. And for me, my personal thinking then, ma'am, is I would rather not have OFWs.
I agree.
So, okay, so now here's the situation. Due to the pandemic, they had no choice because they lost their jobs. They have to come back. So they're now back in the Philippines. Now, surely, when things get better and countries start opening up, a lot of these OFWs will reapply to work abroad. Which is fine, no? But as I said, me personally, I would rather that they stay here. Why? Help the economy get better. And how do we do that? Again, we go back to providing them opportunities to start businesses.
Yan.
Kasi po, that's the only way for this country to prosper, no? By having more businesses, we are able to provide more employment. And when there's more employment, there's more money going around the system. And when there's more money going around the system, the economy is reinvigorated. And the GDP will jump. And wow, that's what we need in this country. So while they're here, because they had no choice but to come back because of the pandemic, we should take that opportunity and try to do something so that they are not encouraged to go back to where they came from. No? As I said, I would rather that they stay here in the Philippines and contribute to the economy. And again, one of the things that we can take a look at is, as I said, yung tinatawag na retooling.
Okay.
I mean, for example, kung ako dati akong DH sa Hong Kong, tapos I had to come back dahil wala akong trabaho doon, why not teach them a new skill other than being a DH so that they can do something here in the Philippines, no? So those are the things that we have to take a look at and see how we can help this particular sector. No, I'm not saying that everybody will stay in the Philippines kasi talagang meron naman talagang iba dyan na talagang babalik sa kanilang pinanggalingan, no? Whether it is in the Middle East, in the United States, in Europe, or in Asia. Meron talagang gano'n. But as much as possible, we should provide them with opportunities here while they're here already.
Finally, PWDs, what is your proposed policy or laws para sa ating mga PWDs? Aside, of course, from the closer and we call for better enforcement of the accessibility law, no?
Actually, ma'am, napakalawak na po ng mga batas para sa PWD, no? I think there's a lot of laws available for them. It's just really a matter of implementation. Right. And I think, of course, we have the oversight function in legislation. So we have to, activate our oversight function and make sure that all of these laws with regards to PWD are properly implemented. Kaya na sinabi ko po, unang-una, yung mga buildings lang di ba?
Yes.
Siguro, a lot of LGUs now, they already monitor, they make it really a requirement because of the laws in place that all new buildings must have accessibility for PWDs. Pero ang problema, ma'am, yung mga lumang buildings, how do we tackle that, no?
Mahal.
That has to be addressed somehow, no? And it's already there. Nasa batas na po yan. Yes. Pero again, as I said, maybe we need to be more active in oversight, our oversight function po sa Kongreso.
Well, yeah, may oversight function naman over the existing laws, di ba? Ang Kongreso.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
tatlo may role niya, ma'am, di ba? Legislation, oversight, and of course,
the purse strings. Budget.
Impeachment.
I agree. Yes. So, in all, we have a few minutes. Would you like to tell our viewers, aside from why it's a safe bet to vote for Angat Pinoy?
Well, I think, as I said, we are a party list that is multi-sectoral. So, napakalawak po ng aming plataforma. We believe that the 6 points that I mentioned earlier are really the issues facing our country, especially in the next administration. No? And we believe that with the way things are going, we believe that si BBM at si Sara ay mananalo, and therefore we hope to be able to BBM Sara. We hope to be able to help in ensuring po that the administration po will also help these particular sectors. So, of course, sa lahat po na nanonood, please support Angat Pinoy Party List. Number 71 sa balota po yan. So, maraming salamat. Ma'am, thank you so much sa panahon po.
Thank you, Gov. Baka sa ulitin, We might want you back. Thank you. You're interesting to talk to, kahit hindi party list pinag-uusapan natin,
Thank you po.
Thank you, Gov. Maraming salamat dun sa sa pagtangkilik ninyo. So now we see, ang ginagawa kasi natin dito sa Tambayan ay iniimbitahan namin as many of the party lists who are capable to to come over para pag-usapan nila yung ganitong mga programa. And we prefer this kind of format, hindi po debate. Kasi we want to hear more programs and more specifics. Halimbawa, syempre Kongreso yung pinapasukan nila, kung ano yung plano nila to legislate, at saka in addition to that, syempre sa pag-uusap natin, nakikita natin kung handa sila at alam nila yung sektor na gusto nilang maging kinatawan sa Kongreso. So we are very grateful also for your feedback. Nakikita naman po namin yung mga komento ninyo, and the raging issue is still here. Yung mga benepisyo ng ating mga seniors. I think that we really need to work also dito sa ating mga pension funds and so on. As well as yung better financial intelligence. Kumbaga, yung pagtuturo ng pag-iimpok, pag-i-invest sa ating mga citizens who are working. Yung mga ganito kasi will help in our later years. Yung hindi lang po tayo dapat nagre-rely dun sa ating sinisweldo o dun sa regular income. Dapat nag-i-invest tayo, nagka-create tayo ng several streams of income para po hindi tayo magkakaproblema later on kapag tumanda. Gayunpaman, we still have to address the sectors na it's maybe too late for them. Dito, kailangan natin i-assist sila. And we always welcome, especially these party lists who take special interest in our marginalized sectors. Meanwhile, maraming salamat dun sa mga tumambay sa atin. I need to mention your names. Delphine Edrelin, Dolly Macale, Liza Jane Stoney, Ma'am Delcy Montecristo, Glorine Castillo, Jaimes Alexandre, Mario Vergonia, Mami Nitej, and Rene Braga Bainco, Joel Mendoza in our Facebook. Sa ating YouTube, Ida Galdiano, Joy, DJ Cans, Joffrey Duguran, si Chev, Harold Del Rosario, na nagre-reklamo na bakit daw puro kami English. Alright, let me explain for a moment. Bakit kayo, and I would like to ask, bakit kayo nagre-reklamo samantalang nasa saligang batas natin ang paggamit ng English bilang official language? Kapag nag-aaral ka ng batas, unfortunately, bihirang-bihira po ang mga nagsusulat ng libro, at kahit ang ating mga batas ay nililikha in English. So you cannot blame lawmakers for speaking in English because the law, unfortunately, is written in English. Yes, there are Filipino translations, but with the difficulty in some, kasi hindi pa ganun kalaganap, at dito nagkukulang yung ibang mga institution natin, hindi pa ganun kalaganap yung proficiency sa paggamit ng wikang Filipino, then you cannot blame people who have been educated in English. Okay? Ito yung mga lumang sistema na ang pagtuturo, kahit noon wala pa pong mother tongue, English po. So please do not discriminate. Kasi parang ang nangyayari, may mga nagre-reklamo, bakit kayo nag-i-English? Because, okay, when we talk to lawmakers, when we discuss the law, ang English po ang medium of instruction sa law school. English din po ang mga libro namin. So going to break that habit is going to take sometimes half a lifetime. Please don't complain, because even our Constitution recognizes the use of English as an official language. Use it or lose it, guys. It's no longer a valid complaint considering the recognition that is given to the English language. And yung iba pa ay dahil nga we have international relations, we have OFWs na nangingibang bansa, yung paggagamit po ng wikang English is not something like a bad thing anymore. Yes, we're all for nationalism, but we're also for a multilingual approach to communications. Maraming salamat sa pagsubaybay sa Tambayan itong araw na ito. Karambola din, sinamahan niyo ako kanina. Salamat sa pagsubaybay sa Tambayan, ang Tambayanan. Susunod na programa, Pilipinas ngayon na, kasama si Yusek Robert Rivera at Lady Eliza. Will see you tomorrow on Karambola. Ako po si Trixie Cruz Angeles.
Tambayang sa DWIZ.